Hi guys, welcome back to another fantastic episode of Two Wacky Pundits, Dr. D and Dr. A.
Hello.
So,
Well, today
what have we got today?
we have a surprise for you.
Oh, before you start, I need to put a little bit of a disclaimer because my daughter went AWOL, well not AWOL, like went crazy on my nails. So apparently these are the colors for the season, for the spring. There you go. I'm not turning into some other type of human being, let's put it this way, but I just left it. Just didn't bother.
They look good on you.
I know.
They look good.
That's why I love them as well. Alright, so what do we got?
So, we have this book here, this beast of a book. The American Woman by Eric John Dingwall.
Okay, now before we go any further, we already
further,
talked about this before we started this.
I would like to put a disclaimer in.
One hell of a disclaimer, okay?
That the opinions found within this book are only the author's opinions and not
of our own.
Not ours. So please, if you get mad, please get mad at the author, who has been deceased for 20 odd years now. So and this is a beast of a book, so I couldn't just skim through it like I usually do, pick some salient points and add them all up. I had to actually write an essay. So bear with me on this. But I think it's worth it.
Okay.
I think it's worth it. So
Let's start.
Let's start. American business, the policy of the devil take the hindmost, and private enterprise have been transformed into a system of exploitation founded upon a system of organized selfishness. It is the desire to make money and be a success that is at the bottom of much of the corruption, scandal and unhappiness in the United States today.
Okay, so let's stop you there, which is actually, it still holds till today, and not just in the States, but everywhere.
Much of it still holds today.
Okay.
It's only a little bit of it that's out of sync with the times.
Yeah, continue.
With the increase in population and the rising tide of immigrants, young unmarried women had to earn their living. Some voices were raised against the employment of so many young women in tasks which were hardly suited to them, and in which little attention were paid to their natural disabilities. Women don't like that word, disabilities. But they are disabilities because they are weaker than men in many respects.
I'm going to stop you right there because you have to again say that this is the opinion of the author and not your own.
In fact, I printed out this paper here to show that I'm right, which says that 84% of women failing new army combat fitness test.
Yeah, but this is
a proof. This is proof of what the author is saying. Just one of many proofs. If you were to look at the firemen recruitment tests and metal worker recruitment tests, and any sort of bastion of male.
You're walking on very, very, very thin ice here, okay?
Yes, I know, but
so you need to make it absolutely clear that these are, first of all, what was said about the disability is not my opinion, not
my opinion,
but the author's, okay? Strictly.
But it's what he's saying is actually true.
But again, it's his. You cannot confirm it, okay? Even though you have this paper.
Let's go.
You know how much bullshit gets published every year? Trust me, I'm in the business. There's a lot of shit that gets out.
Okay. All right.
So
let's go with that.
The fact that it's being published doesn't mean that it is true.
No.
Okay?
No.
Important to underline that as well.
Yes.
Continue.
Many American women, despite attaining all that any woman could wish for, remain the most nervous, unhappy, and disgruntled women that one can possibly find. They are spoiled, self-centered, emotionally aggressive, dissatisfied, very expensive in their tastes, and less interested in husbands, home, and family. Hence their restlessness.
So this is American women in the 1950s.
That's right.
That's what he's saying.
That's right.
Okay.
While women sneer at men as inferior beings, she tries to imitate them in thought, talk, and manner, and all the time despising the creature she was trying to rival. Women were jealous of men because while they were being asked to stifle their natural urges and remain virgins, men had outlets for carnal gratification, especially with prostitutes.
Okay, but that has changed nowadays. So
this was written in 1950.
Yeah, exactly. Continue.
It was because of this jealousy of men enjoying themselves whilst women remained frustrated and dissatisfied that regularization of prostitution has always been opposed by women in positions of influence of authority.
Which is not the case anymore.
And the ones getting least sex. Ones in positions of authority.
Not necessarily, but anyway.
The ones who are most frustrated. That's why they oppose prostitution. Because if they had been getting enough sex, why would they have anything against prostitution at all? There would be no moral impediment.
Yeah, but nowadays this argument doesn't hold because now everything is getting liberalized.
But there are many women's groups declaiming against prostitution.
But the people in power want to have everything regularized. So
some of them, at least. Some of them.
We'll see. Okay. At least that's for here anyway.
Notice the hypocrisy. Although they are fervent advocates of rescuing women from prostitution, they have no qualms about turning them into domestic drudges, let alone paying attention to the highly nauseating jobs men and women are many times forced to do. We find that the majority of abolitionists of prostitution are unmarried, or if married, profoundly unsatisfied and possibly frigid. Because of this enforced frigidity, we can see the beginnings of the theory of male inferiority and female dominance, forcing women to rationalize their misery by pretending to be immune from passion and desire, while they exhibited their discomfort and irritation by a domineering, scornful, and rude attitude towards men. Love soon started to play a very small part in their lives, for the husband she dominated was little more than a machine for making money. You with me thus far?
I'm hearing, but I'm not saying any opinions.
Okay.
Not on this one.
And this strikes so many notes. And I read this 15 years ago.
Continue.
American men starting to become doormats for their women owes its origins in no small part to their mostly female school teachers, most of whom remained largely barren and unmarried.
Holy shit, what if you have nuns, Emma? What if you have nuns as school teachers?
Well, that goes for them as well. I mean, they are unmarried and barren, so the principle applies.
Okay, alright.
They are unsatisfied, deeply
I'm not saying anything again. You chose one hell of a prickly book there, so this one is really prickler.
But all my books are prickly.
But this one's particular. Yeah, continue.
As time went on, women started infiltrating bastions previously occupied by men, like education, finance, literature, and business. However, this success did not bring her any nearer to serenity, tranquility, and enjoyment of her gains. Women were constantly searching for something they could not find. Marriages were of course suffering as they became a series of trial alliances, with the husband becoming a figure of fun, unable to cope with the demands of his wife. Hollywood is also to blame for the American woman's disillusionment. Fed as she is week in and week out by the fantasies of the silver screen, she still believes life should be one long honeymoon. Since real life is utterly different from that portrayed in the magazines or on the screen, the young wife becomes discontented and miserable, and divorce soon follows. What makes courtship so difficult for the educated American girl was her incurably romantic approach, with its tendency to divorce love from sex and thus cause disillusionment at the cruder and more practical attitude of men. The increase in knowledge about the sexual life had affected women for the worse rather than for the better, for the more she knew, the more she suspected she was being cheated. As the author notes, the body of a woman is made expressly for love and certain implacable biological purposes. To neglect such facts is merely to indulge in willful blindness. It is perhaps the fact that they had the time to worry about such things that made the leisure class uncomfortable. Those with less time on their hands were luckier. The underprivileged had not sufficient leisure to be continually worrying about personal trouble, and as such were happier with their lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the more time you have to contemplate on your problems, the happier you are, the happier you become.
True.
If you're busy,
true. True.
The less depressed you are.
You got no time for bullshit. Yeah.
It would be so much better for women to try to be more feminine and womanly, and if their aggressive independence could be softened by additional touches of gentleness, refinement, and sympathy. Instead of aspiring to be inferior men, they should be content with becoming better women. An American soldier stationed in England came to the conclusion that it would be better if many American girls darned a few socks and did some honest work in the home, instead of playing bridge and sipping cocktails all afternoon. As to the English belief that American women were spoiled, he was inclined to agree with it, and his advice to the American bachelor was to find a wife in England. Now please remember that this book was written in the 1950s, alright, and this advice does not hold true today. For the British woman is just as spoiled and shallow as the American woman.
I'm not saying anything.
Nothing, okay.
And neither should you.
Don't worry, you'll get some trolls from this one for sure.
Look, what I can say is that this, again, was written in the 50s.
This is written in the 50s.
All this is the opinion of the authors.
That's right.
Okay? It's definitely, I'm not going to say any opinion at all, myself. Okay? But I will tell you this. Did your wife read it?
No, she doesn't read.
What do you mean she doesn't read?
She doesn't read. My wife does not of an inclination.
Okay, but she can read.
Of an intellectual inclination. She would never have the...
Well, you should give her this book and then see her get her opinion.
This book, my wife read this book. Oh, not a chance in hell.
Right, we're all there.
Not a chance in hell.
We are all there.
Okay.
If she sees this, you're fucked. You're so
Not
fucked.
a chance in hell. She won't see it.
Okay.
She's too busy doing her own videos.
Okay.
The truth is, let's end this on a good note.
Yes,
on a positive note.
Please.
The truth is that there is no question of superiority or inferiority between men and women, but merely one of difference. With feminism triumphant, women lost her femininity, and with her femininity, her peace of mind.
You see, so this is where I actually do not agree with some of the stuff. Because I'm going to speak for myself now, okay?
Mm.
I would never hang out with someone who is just like basically, a bimbo. Yeah? No matter how sexy she might be or whatever, it's just doesn't work for me. You know? Okay, maybe get laid a couple of times, but then...
But have you ever been with an American woman?
Huh?
With an American or Western woman?
I've had my chances when I was abroad. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and she wasn't actually a bimbo as such. Actually, from a good background family and all that stuff. You know, studying abroad and all that.
This book doesn't deal actually with dating or petting or anything.
No, but
it deals with long term relationships.
Yeah, but exactly. But long term, for me, I could never hook up with someone who is not intellectually on my par. Because I'll get fucking bored immediately.
True.
You know, but this is me. Someone else is happy, you know, getting married to someone who is like half brain dead or whatever.
We're not saying that women of different cultures are.
This goes the other way around, yeah. We have like smart
stupid.
women. We have smart women. Getting married to, you know, guys who is just there for
for the sex.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it that way. Yeah, I mean, this is actually the basis for another interesting story that we need to talk about. The Game, Neil Strauss.
Yes,
that is one hell of a book, but that's
a topic.
We'll keep it for later.
For that's another episode.
That would be a hit. But yeah, I mean, I don't really agree that that the woman has to be, you know, intellectually lower than you. Why not? I personally would find it actually relieving if I am not the breadwinner completely.
I don't equate intellect with dishonesty or malice. I don't equate these.
Yeah,
two
but
things
this
together.
book kind of does it.
Maybe that's your interpretation of it. But,
maybe.
But it doesn't equate the two.
I didn't read it, so I can't
think
say.
it's there.
It's just from what you're telling me.
It's their upbringing. Well, it's only a synopsis, of course. I mean, it's a long book.
The upbringing, but the upbringing now, what's happening in America, happen pretty much all over the Western world.
That's right.
And even beyond.
That's why I said in England today, Americanized women are everywhere.
Yes. But I wouldn't, go and say like, listen, like, don't hook up with a smart and business-minded woman or something like that, because you're gonna get.
I'll just reserve my
pussy
opinion
whipped
at this point.
No,
I think I've said enough.
That's the thing, pussy whipped.
I think I've said enough.
Again,
so I will just.
Those are the
bury myself even
those
deeper.
are the opinions of the author and not her own, at least not mine.
But if you want to comment,
disclaimer.
All right, you can comment down below.
Huh?
If you comment,
I'm sure that might get some trolls now this time.
Yeah, let's.
Cracked.
Maybe it'll go viral. Who knows?
Oh, well.
For all the wrong reasons.
We'll see.
All
okay,
right.
so I think we'll leave it at that. We will still put in the link for this book.
You won't
is it
be
still
able,
in circulation now?
No,
or?
You will be able to find it second hand, and probably at inflated prices.
Who knows? Maybe it's still on Amazon. Did you check?
It's still on Amazon, but
you never know.
it's being sold by second hand stores.
Yeah, but it's still available.
Still available, but at inflated prices.
But someone who is
It hasn't been made into a Kindle book.
Still intent on getting hands on this book.
He probably could.
Or she.
Or she, if she was a masochist. She was a masochist. Yeah. All right.
I think that's enough, man.
May your God be with you.
Thanks, guys. Indeed. See you on the next one. Bye.